Hi. Hello, look, this is not so confessional because I don't give my name in this website. I was remembering something about my father from the 1960s. So let's say this is possibly as much as 45 years ago. And what he was saying was, he was saying something negative about two people that he knew who were overseas. Why don't they come back here and settle down? What could he possibly teach the Italians about music? He was a music teacher in high school. Anyway, it's taken me all this time. I only worked out about half an hour ago what Dad was saying. The simple fact is that Dad would have felt crushed by perceived or real obligations to stay at work. He wouldn't have been able to go overseas. He certainly wouldn't have been able to afford it. It would have been a very precarious thing for him to do, to have decided, say, to leave his job and go overseas as an experiment. And I believe that this is just an indication of how the brain works. We just assume some kind of a finite state model of consciousness. And this is the output that he came out with. The actual words aren't important, but it was along the lines that of what I've said, that what are they doing travelling around Europe? Shouldn't they be back here? Shouldn't they come back here and settle down? He probably meant settle down and have a family, I don't know. It sounds incredible out of context, but if you provide half a lifetime of context for it, as I can, as I understand, I realised that all he was some finite state machine, like we all are, very complex finite state machines, but finite state machines nonetheless. So when he came out with that statement, that was a coded way of saying, gee, I'd like to go overseas, but I can't. That was, well, that was taboo. That was effectively taboo for him to say that, to actually express that wish. Would have been too destructive, perhaps, too frightening for him to actually express the wish. So what actually came out was ridicule for somebody who was overseas. So it is interesting that I'm suggesting that you could actually take the statement that he made and take the negative of it, and you'd be getting some understanding of what Dad's real views were on the subject. I'm actually thinking that way, that if you could take a 180 degree shift on that idea, and he'd be saying something like, what are we doing here? We could be over in Europe. Why are we here? Shouldn't we be over there? What are we going to learn here about music? Or something like that. Maybe they're the things he would have liked to say, but it was impossible for him to say it because his mind had created barriers of self-protection. So he couldn't have actually consciously admitted to himself that that he had no resources to do anything like that, because maybe it would have depressed him if he'd actually acknowledged that.